So if he says this needs to be cut, we cut. If I says this needs to be cut, he doesn't cut.
There's more money in dirt than in gold, actually.
So landfills, they come and fill up in the night, so that from your apartment there's 30 feet.
30 feet, yes.
They create 30 feet.
They create 30 feet.
By moving into the lake and filling the water with debris.
So environment and all, who cares? Nobody cares. You can make money if you are willing to compromise on your ethics and values. It's easy to make money. Doing the right thing is more difficult.
Wherever there's lake, these builders come.
Yeah.
It's like hyenas. They come. And then they build these high rises. They don't take care of sewage treatment. And they put their sewage into rainwater drains.
Why can't we maintain the same level of discipline when we are in India? We, same people, when we travel abroad, we follow the rules, right?
So I've often felt that in India, the thing that really stands out when we travel anywhere outside and come back is the garbage. Will we ever change that?
One, I think it's about our mindset. Are we not respecting ourselves enough? We think that when we are in our country, chalta hai. We all give example of Japan as the cleanest country in the world. Is somebody pushing them, forcing them? Are there penalties? Nothing. The other day I read that was the social experiment. One Indian lady, she went and she walked around the streets of Tokyo, just socks, no shoes. And when she came home, it was still clean. How many of us went to like Singapore or the US and have thrown rubbish on the street? None of us. Here we do it with pride. Fundamentally, that needs to be addressed. Now I know it's easier said than done, but that is where it has to begin. While we speak as a country, how many times do we talk about waste management as an agenda? Researchers have found microplastic in mother's milk. Can it get any worse than this? On the outskirts of Delhi, there is a dumping ground. So I was reading that today the dumping ground is as tall as a 17-story building.
Sowjanya living there has healthy lifestyle.
That's right.
Right? The same Sowjanya living here, you're saying my food is contaminated, my water is contaminated, I have no accountability and social responsibility as a citizen here. I'm spoiled, I don't care, and I don't even question others. I can't question others. And then my health, quality of life in the future, I'm tampering for myself and my future generations as well.
Absolutely. And rule of thumb, if you spend 20 to 25 years there versus here, your lifespan you are reducing by at least 10% a year.
Okay, so we start.
Okay. So we start.
Starting problem, huh? For someone who doesn't know, what types of garbage is there? So I've often felt that in India, it's a beautiful country. Our people are amazing. Our culture is amazing. Our food is amazing. We have our ups and downs. But the thing that really stands out when we travel anywhere outside and come back is the garbage. And it makes me wonder, will we ever change that? Is it us? Is it accountability of people owning responsibilities in that? Or is it more than that? And what can we as an average Indian who's listening to this podcast do to bring the change? This is what we're going to talk today with my guest, Avinash. Welcome to Attitude Makeover and the podcast, Avinash.
Thank you so much, Sowjanya. This is such an important topic, very, very pertinent for conversation today. And I can't agree more because I have experienced the same. Why can't we maintain the same level of discipline when we are in India? We, same people, when we travel abroad, we follow the rules, right? We follow the rules. How many of us went to like Singapore or the US and have thrown rubbish on the street? None of us. But once we are back in India, so there's no point in talking about the literacy, and that's even the most educated professionals, we all behave the same way, and that really is the challenge. One, I think it's about our mindset, how we look at it, to a point, and it may sound very hard hitting, but I think sometimes are we not respecting ourselves enough? We think that when we are in our country, chalta hai, and we take ourselves for granted. While that's such a shame that we do that, but fundamentally that needs to be addressed. Now I know it's easier said than done, but that is where it has to begin. Is how I would know.
No, I think so. This conversation has led me to think like an investigative journalist, and so it's something that all of us should be interested in, understand. So we'll spend first some time to understand the ecosystem. What is waste management? What are the types? What's being done? What are benchmarks? Where are we behind? And then I think there are a couple of things. One is an understanding of the benchmarks and where we stand, and what's our role in this. Let's see if we can sort of bring it down together. Yeah? Huh? Okay. So first, let's start with the landscape.
Yeah.
What types of garbage is there? For someone who doesn't know, what types of garbage is there?
Garbage, I mean, in fact, it gets classified in many different ways. However, broadly, for a common man, one which we deal with every single day, which is our municipal waste, right? The garbage that we generate at home or at a restaurant, things like that is the municipal waste, okay? That's one. Then there is industrial waste. Now, again, within industrial waste, there is hazardous, non-hazardous, solid, liquid, that's other waste. Other than that, also there is e-waste, which is, electronic waste, which is another bigger problem, which we are still not recognizing the challenge that electronic waste is going to pose to us. So that's the electronic waste is the other element we are talking about. So these are broadly few of the waste. Now, probably if we talk more on what a common person on the street, people like you and me, can address and can have a direct impact right away, is what is classified under the municipal waste, which also contains food waste. I think that's because our household waste, a major part of that is food waste, right? It could be stale food or chopping vegetables waste, that kind of stuff, and then of course some other rubbish. That's what it is. So interestingly, globally it's about 2.2 billion tons of waste that get generated every year. India generates in the vicinity of 60 to 65 million tons waste every year. Okay. Now, only 70% of that gets picked up. When picked up means it's not that it gets processed. Okay, instead of lying at your home, it's dumped somewhere. That dump could be lying somewhere for days and months together. And only 20% of that collected waste actually gets processed scientifically. So that's the massive challenge that we are talking about. So there are two aspects to it. One, when I talk about food waste, what are we doing? The amount of food that we waste in this country, and I'm talking India specific, the amount of food that we waste every single day can feed 1/10 of our total population, equivalent to the population of 1 or 2 Indian states. It's that. If you talk about 1.4 billion as our population, just imagine, right? So that 140 crore is the population. 14 to 15 crore people can be fed, and we are talking about this in a country where we still, while we have made so many advancements, we still talk about poverty and people going empty stomachs. Something which you and I and everyone can influence. It can start with each one of us. I think that's where it goes. So that's one part of the story wherein do we really need to waste that? Or can we really, avoid that in the first place? Managing waste is after the story, right? It's even before. Can we avoid creating that waste? I think that's one important element that we have to all consider. Then comes the other element of what happens to the waste that gets created and how are we, what do we do with it. I think fundamental things, it's no rocket science. 80-20 principle applies. 80% of the challenges that we have can be addressed with simple common sense, approach, which is segregation. When government talks about it, municipalities talk about, how many of us are really doing some religious segregation of waste? We all know the answer. I think that's something which we are not doing. Again, the same thing, you go to another country, you do it religiously. And the question we have to ask us is why? Why are we in that mindset that we can get away with it? And I think that question probably is what we should address, which will help. We help us, steer ourselves in the right direction.
So first we have the municipal waste, then we have the industry waste, hazard, non-hazardous, and then we have the electronic waste, and then we have the medical waste.
Correct.
These are four major categories of waste. Can you sort of give an idea of how we are doing in each one versus an industry benchmark?
Okay, the unfortunate fact is that we are below par across the board.
Okay.
Across the board in all segments. It's an uncomfortable truth for us. As I said, so I don't mean to say that the advanced countries don't generate more food waste, but there is a processing that actually waste management happens. The earlier part is still bad, even worse. But so we are really behind. We talk about only 20% of household waste getting scientifically treated. Actually, the global number is more than 45-50%. And if you look at the developed world, it is in north of 80%. It is that bigger difference.
Sweden had 90%.
Yes. So it's that bigger difference. So we are not looking at, when we are really having a major issue here for ourselves.
Yeah. And in the
other thing. Same thing holds good for hazardous and non-hazardous industrial waste. Now, even if you ask ChatGPT and what you will get an answer that there is not enough data available. So it's very hard to. So these are mostly guesstimates that we get here. So again, it's no better than 20-30% of the waste which is actually getting treated scientifically. No wonder our drains are clogged. No wonder there is contamination, industrial contamination of our rivers and canals because of the waste coming out of. So we are again in that range. It's really bad. It is bad. Let's face it. Coming to bio waste, if you take bio waste. There are regulations, probably better than others, but even there, can I really trust the data that we have available and say that this is? I would question myself in terms of what data that we have. So I will not even talk about where we stand in terms of the standards that the global benchmarks are, because hazardous waste, the target should be 100%. Actually, that should be the target, right? And to your point, like Sweden, it's actually upwards of 90% is what the global standard is. 10% still goes here and there. We are not there. E-waste, we are barely doing 10% of our electronic waste that we generate is getting recycled or doing something about it. So that's how. I know I'm probably painting a gloomy picture, but that's the reality.
No, that is. So I had some numbers. I mean, I'm not from this space. And today morning, what date is it today? 20th already. Yeah? Oh. It's been raining the whole night, the last 2 days, right? Literally every road in Bangalore is full of water. And when you're driving, you're first of all stuck in traffic for like 2 hours. When you told us you're landing at 8:45 and you'll be here at 11, we were all laughing. Yeah. We were like, how is that possible? Not possible. But when you look outside the window when you're driving, First thing is the water. I don't know what water it is. It's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
Then as you look around, it's clothes, plastic,
Yes.
everything, debris from construction.
Yeah.
Everything is just thrown on our roads. So I just looked up some numbers to what you're saying. 62 million tons of household trash,
Yeah.
7.9 million tons per year of industrial waste, 656, I don't know what TPD of biomedical waste. What is TPD?
Tons per day.
Per day.
Huh.
And we are going to become a medical tourism
Yes.
spot as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes.
So this is only going to increase
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
us. And 30% home segregation, which you're almost telling the same thing. 20% scientific treatment of it. That's scary, no?
It is scary.
Huh?
It is scary. It really is scary. And we still didn't touch upon plastic waste in particular. That's the other part, which is even scary, right? So the entire picture is very scary. To your point on, we see all this dirty water on the streets. It is sipping into
The ground.
the ground. All said and done, we don't have a choice, but the groundwater gets used, if not for drinking, but for other household. And our crops are getting the same water. So it's what we have is really polluted water. And no matter what kind of filters and all that we use at home, do we really think that it's all taken care of? No, it actually is affecting us. It is affecting the environment around us. It is leading to not just our personal health directly, but indirectly, the ecosystem around us, is spoiled. Rivers are contaminated. Can you really expect any aquatic life to thrive when water is all contaminated with all these chemicals and garbage? So that's the sad reality. And we are, while we speak as a country, we proudly, and I'm so proud of what we have achieved in past couple of decades. But how many times do we talk about waste management as an agenda item when we talk about, this is something which is part of our growth vision? I don't think we are. I think that's probably one of the reasons why we as a country are not doing enough in this space.
So, what is the cost then? The cost of inaction here is not just the immediate cost that we're seeing of, waterlogging everywhere, us getting delayed in traffic and everything else. It's a long-term impact in terms of our health, our lungs, our pollution of water, air, food, literally everything. Huh?
So, and I would encourage viewers to Google and they'll find that now researchers have found microplastic in mother's milk.
Yeah.
I mean, can it get any worse than this?
Yeah.
So a newborn infant is getting microplastic through mother's milk. I think it's gone to that extent. Yeah. So the immediate, of course, there are challenges. We live in the cities and traffic and pollution and all of that. We talk about the health issues we have. All that is there, and this is only multiplying the pollution. The lack of proper waste management is actually multiplying the already strained health of common people, especially in the urban areas more than in rural areas. So yeah, the cost is heavy. This generation, like my generation, is paying. Unfortunately, our next generation is going to pay even heavier price. At the same time, I see a silver, I see a ray of hope there, that if we create the right kind of awareness and if we adopt the right measures, they can bring in that importance to this particular aspect. I think we should encourage this generation to ask that question. We as a generation have not done a good job of addressing this. We have only made matters from bad to worse. I mean, we are a generation in like if I talk about my parents' generation, it was much cleaner, it isn't that big a deal, right? The consumerism has grown, it's all good progress, of course, progress and growth and luxury comes at a cost, but did we look at what cost? And is it really mandatory that you have to incur that cost? You can still have growth, you can still have better quality of life without compromising on these elements, which probably we somewhere did not pay enough attention to. So I think the impact of not having proper waste management is immediate. We can see it now, and if we don't do anything about it, it's going to even get worse exponentially.
Yeah, this sounds. So, if I could just bring it back together, there seems to be three major problems that we are tackling over here. One is that we only have 30% of pickup of our garbage itself, or 30% is also something we're guesstimating. We don't have real data around it, but nonetheless, that's the small percentage. Too little treatment of the waste after that, and then also the invisible workers. So we miss out on a whole lot around that. Can you talk a little bit about the workers working in the waste management space in India?
It's a difficult job for them. Okay, I mean, no matter how much you blame people for inefficiency and all of that, but our whatever gets collected, even if that entire thing that gets collected gets processed properly, I think we would achieve significant positive outcomes.
Oh, even the 30% that we get collected, we collect.
Is it getting processed scientifically? Okay, so there's some municipality, somebody is coming and collecting our hazardous waste or industrial waste. There is some company, but what happens to it after that? Are we paying enough attention? So, for instance, on the outskirts of Delhi, there is a dumping ground. So I was reading that today the dumping ground is as tall as a 17-story building.
Wow.
It's just getting dumped. Now, who to blame? Do we blame people who are we did not provide them enough resources, neither resources nor technology. So I don't think we are helping. There's no point in blaming people who are working. In fact, they are trying. Most of them are trying to do their best. They are a neglected lot, and who in India would take that as a respectable work? It's unfortunate. We talk about dignity of labor. They are the ones who are helping us live a decent, clean life, but they are the most neglected lot. So their life is bad. The safe basic things like the personal protective equipment that is to be provided, the overall technology that is there, I think we are not doing a good job at that. But again, there are few sparks, positive things that are happening, and I personally don't know any of these companies, so it's not like a marketing thing for them. But there's a company called Recycle, you can Google. It's a more technology-led waste management platform. Okay, if I'm not wrong, there is another initiative called Sahas. I think these are companies which have started getting into this space and trying to bring in a meaningful change into the ecosystem. So if I talk about jumping on to what do we do? Okay, we talk about all bad and all of that, but what do we do about it? And because otherwise just okay, it's bad, so what? We know it's bad, but what next to that? So if we apply the age-old Chanakya Niti, Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed, as we say, that's how I would take it. Sam is basically you create awareness, bring understanding, that could be through regulations, awareness campaigns and things of that nature. Dam would be, incentivize people. But Dam is not just paying subsidies and things of that we know it has mixed outcomes. So, but beyond that, ultimately, as someone said, human beings at core, when they work, majority of them, for them, they want answer to one question: what's in it for me, right? Now, what's in it for me? How will that question be answered? Of course, we are going to create a better environment and all of that, but they see it as it's a larger good that we are talking about. But if I have to be really selfish, think what's in it specifically for me, I think the best way to handle that is create an ecosystem wherein this is not a problem but becomes an opportunity. So we are in Bangalore today, and it's all about startups and all of that. How many startups are coming up in this space? I think this is from garbage to gold, and I really mean it. There are opportunities for companies to. It could be small startups who would take this and convert it. It can be converted to energy. It can be there are multiple and applications of that. So it becomes a commercially viable, profitable initiative. It is not just some local self-government body or somebody doing it, and then we talk about all the challenges with that. Rather, people coming in, business people with a business interest coming and picking up the waste and managing it, and they make it a profitable venture. That way, we will not only address the problem of waste management as such, but make it a business. And I think once people see the business ecosystem would develop, once they see that it's a profitable business, I can tell you for sure it's a very lucrative business if you do it right. There is technology available. There are a lot of bright young minds which, for instance, and there are multiple ways, and I can keep going. I'm so passionate about it. So there are, from innovation point of standpoint, there are scientific studies and a lot of university experiments that have happened, and in some countries they have even commercialized it, wherein they have created these bugs, who would consume a kind of waste, and the outcome is actually a fuel. Yeah, so I would encourage people to look up that. So I used to work for a company which used to deal with waste stream coming out of the steel plants, right? And then the gaseous waste, it gets collected without going into too much of the chemistry part of it, but they consume it, and what comes out is methane. Okay, so methane again is bad, right? Yeah. But again, it can be used as a gas, right, for fuel. Or there are these super bugs who can consume some of this waste and produce byproducts, excrete basically byproducts which are useful for us as humankind. So those possibilities are there. I think, we focus on, it may not sound very sexy, but actually it is. Yeah. So I think that those are some thoughts for us to work on.
Think about as well, yeah. Right? Yeah, no, I think it's very important. I think one question I had was, way back when I was in HP, right, Avinash? We were working in printers, and at that time suddenly there was this whole vibe of, oh, you guys are destroying the planet, and trees are getting cut and everything. And HP went into something which was really fantastic. They changed to a circular economy.
Yes.
It's called circular.
It's called circular economy, yes.
So that's where a lot of recycled, reuse, there's a lot of R's that were used. Yeah. So you take all your printers, parts are recycled, papers recycled, literally everything, even our code that we built was forcefully reused.
Yes.
What is the latest that's happening in this front? Is it circular economy still in the waste management space, or what's happening?
In some pockets, yes.
Okay.
Is there an opportunity? The answer is yes, absolutely yes. I think we have done it. We are doing it in small pockets. Recycling is happening, and so now you on any e-commerce platform, you buy something, the packaging is predominantly recycled. Good. I think we have to do more of that. So recycling is definitely happening. Some regulations have also helped. The other day I was looking at this, you talked about paper, right? So I was looking at paper manufacturing in India today. So, by the way, more than 80% of the paper that we get is actually from recycled sources. Big positive. So while we talk about negatives, it's a big positive. So not every piece of paper that we get is actually coming from some bamboos or some trees cut from the. So that is one area where I think recycling as such has improved significantly. In plastic, again, I think the recycling has improved significantly. But as I refuse, reuse, recycle, I think, correct, I would rather say also add one more R, rethink. Okay. Do we really even need it? The food the food part is a great example. Do I really need to order this amount of food? Most of us do it just in case, and there are the social pressures. Come ho gaya to it will be embarrassing. If no, with all these apps and all, you get it.
Yeah.
And then if everyone starts doing it and you announce, this is why I'm doing it, if food falls short, we'll get fresh food, right? So I think rethink everything that we do. The other part is about the other waste which we are not talking so much about is the waste that is coming out of all the synthetic clothing. With fast fashion trend, low cost, you buy something, wear it for a couple of months. Did we even think what happens to it? We typically give it to somebody or it is thrown garbage. Only natural fibers get recycled. Otherwise, all the polyester and all, they are again not going to get
What happens to it?
It's just like another plastic, because polyester is what it the product basically comes from crude oil, as we know, right? So it again takes thousands of years, if not more, for it to recycle. So it's not, so it lands somewhere and stays there, just like a plastic bottle. It stays there. That is again, if you see the Bangalore drains we were talking about, a lot of that is also part of this. And so again, asking that question to us, it is not okay. We have to strike balance. We want fancy lifestyle. I want it. Everybody wants it. But again, rethink. Is there a better way of still enjoying good life, but not compromising on some of these fundamentals, which are so very important for our future, our own future, and our next generation even more.
So what you're saying is, irrespective of who you are, how old you are, first think, do you really need it?
Absolutely.
And then be very aware of how this gets processed in the thing and your contribution to the trouble or the problem statement itself. Be aware of that and be very conscious of the choices and the long-term consequences of that. That's the first thing.
That's the first thing. Yeah.
Okay. So moving from there,
Yeah,
if I lived in Sweden, which I think what I've gathered is one of the few countries which is like industry benchmark
Absolutely.
of sorts. If I lived in Sweden, Sowjanya, 49-year-old, living in Sweden, versus Sowjanya, 49-year-old, living in Bangalore. And you talked about the 4 different types of waste management there versus 4 different types over here, how it's done. What is my personal experience and how is it different from what I experience in that country to here?
I think the answer is very obvious, right? So if you, the experience that you would have in a country like Sweden or some of the other countries which pay a lot more attention to, it's that, one, there are regulations in most countries, including India. I think the problem is with implementation. That is one. I'd take one step back and say, what is our mindset? We all give example of Japan as the cleanest country in the world. Is somebody pushing them, forcing them? Are there penalties? Nothing. The other day I read that was the social experiment. One Indian lady, she went and she walked around the streets of Tokyo, just socks, no shoes. And when she came home, it was still clean. It has been developed as a culture. So I think that I say it's more of a cultural change than anything else, as to how people think about cleanliness, about waste management, and take personal accountability. I think taking personal accountability is probably the major difference that you would see in some of these countries which we talk highly about versus areas where we have challenge. That would be a fundamental change. Second, if someone does something wrong, like throws rubbish on the street and all, they are looked down upon. People may or may not pick a fight or comment on it, but they give you a look. You won't do that again. Here we do it with pride. And if you question, then we say,
Hey.
hey, kya? Tu kaun hai? Hey, kaun hai?
This is a Bangalore sir.
Right, right,
Hey,
right,
you know. Yeah.
It's like jumping the queue in India is it's straightforward. It's just like that. And if you ask that question, why are you jumping the queue? He'll fight with you. Whereas in some of these countries, if someone jumps the queue, they look down. They will not even, sometimes they will not say anything, but everyone will look at you as if, no, either you are an alien or they are such a lowly creature that you will feel you will be so embarrassed that you won't do it again. I think we have to look at that. I again, going back to this point about our mindset and our next generation, they are bold, they are willing to question. I think we have to encourage them to ask the right questions. If someone is doing something, ask that question. Why are you doing it? If someone is doing it, someone is throwing rubbish, ask that question. You can't do it. Maybe there could be some fight. So be it. I think that's the fundamental change, the difference I see between like a country like Sweden versus us. Otherwise, people are people.
So, पानी टैप से आता है उधर? पानी पी सकते हैं उधर?
टैप का पानी पी सकते हैं.
इधर नहीं पी सकते.
इधर नहीं पी सकते.
बॉटल वाला फिल्टर पानी भी थोड़ा
और इन द बैकग्राउंड वो कितना चैलेंज क्रिएट करता है, दैट आल्सो वी नो, राइट? वी कांट ड्रिंक टैप वाटर हियर, राइट? But you can drink tap water in those countries.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
But we can't drink.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, we used to drink tap water at railway stations. If the train stops, you go and drink like this. That's how. Can you do that today? No, irrespective of the economic status, we are not. We can't do it. We know why. I remember where I was born, we used to have a bore well, okay, that hand pump, and then we used to get water from there before the municipal corporation provided tap water. Everyone in the neighborhood also used to take water from us. It used to be nice, sweet, potable water. And we sold out that home, but if I go there, that water stinks because the groundwater got contaminated so much with all the mismanaged waste. So you can't consume that water. So we spoiled the groundwater as well. That's where we are.
So our food is contaminated. So Sowjanya living there has healthy lifestyle, right? The same Sowjanya living here, you're saying my food is contaminated, my water is contaminated. I have no accountability and social responsibility as a citizen here. I'm spoiled. I don't care, and I don't even question others. I can't question others. And then my health, quality of life in the future, I am tampering for myself and my future generations as well.
So you're absolutely. And rule of thumb, if you spend 20 to 25 years there versus here, your lifespan you are reducing by at least 10% here.
Okay.
As simple as that, it's because in India itself we say, no, my grandparent lived for so long, and of course there are health, lifestyle issues and all of that, but what are we eating, what are we drinking is all contaminated. So we are, and if you look at it from that lens, at least people will start thinking that for my own selfish interest, let me do it right.
Yeah. You earlier were talking about other cities in India which have still managed to do some things like this, like Indore. I remember, I think it's Mizoram, which is also clean. And there are villages. I've been to villages actually. Village homes are clean.
Yes.
When you step outside is where the dirt is, right?
Absolutely.
Meghalaya, not Mizoram. I thought Mizoram also.
It's one of the.
Oh, Chandigarh also.
So Chandigarh was always little better organized because it's a newly built city, but city that totally changed from where it was to what it became is Surat. And it was after the plague that the epidemic that happened, after which they changed. So it's when I have been there a couple of years ago, it's definitely pretty good. As you said, Indore again, pretty good.
So disasters can fundamentally.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we know how to pull up our socks and keep it clean.
We know. It's just the will. If Indore can do it, why can't Bangalore do it?
So Indore didn't have like someone very authoritative coming and saying, "Oh, tera garbage andar rakh," How did they do it?
Oh, okay, Indore is a good case study actually, you know. So it is about few senior officials making up their mind that they want to make a difference. Okay, I'm glad there are so many youngsters who are now clearing their UPSCs and IS and then getting those, you know, and good amount of them, they really want to make a difference. Unfortunately, some of them become victim of the overall system and give up. They don't want to, but they some of them don't give up. So people like those, they are the ones who said we are going to bring in
The change.
bring in some change. And then the first thing they did is just tried to solve some basic, fundamental, easily solvable problems for people. So people got along with them, and that it became more like a movement, which is not just municipal corporation run, but people's movement. I think when you take, and there'll be still naysayers, and that's always going to happen. But if you still have a significant amount of people who are behind you, I think those are cities which have shown that things can change. I mean, I was born and raised in a city called Nagpur. It is still, I think, the second greenest city in the country. It's pretty nice and green, but we used to have overall general change, not just waste management. And then there was one particular official, I would not get into names and all, but he came in and he drove the right behavior. And of course, there were protests and all of that, but he actually stuck to his guns and got a lot of public support. Thanks to him, there are a lot of positives that you see there. So it is possible. It is possible. So either it happens that way, or I would say it has to become a people's, not a political movement, but people's movement. If you put enough pressure, things change. For sure. In this country, that's the beauty of democracy. If you put enough pressure, things change. So it's about people like us getting together. And one of the ideas you were saying earlier, right? Simple. If you see something bad, take a picture and upload. In fact, a lot of these municipal corporations have these apps now that if there's a problem, water leakage, you take a picture and upload, and then they try to address it, which is good, very good. I think that kind of movement has to happen. Sometimes name and shame is fine. If just imagine that someone, you say, hey, please don't throw garbage here, and saying, hey, if that video goes viral, I think we know what happens. I think if there are a few examples we create, I think probably it is an extreme measure, but something of that sort. But otherwise, how are you going to make change? So it is possible. If northeast states of ours, they have been able to do it. Few cities in India have been able to do it. We should all be able to do it. They're same people like you and me.
Yeah, actually, that's something. When you go to even Asian states, I'm saying Asian countries, other Asian countries like us, country cousins, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go to Sri Lanka, Thailand, it's clean.
Absolutely.
Bhutan, it's
super
clean.
It is clean.
Why can't we become clean?
Why can't we? They're same blood. Yeah. And some of these countries, they don't have these strong regulations like Singapore. Singapore is all cane. Yeah. So there's you won't even dare to. But not every country has that, those punitive measures. But I think the mindset has people. It's a lot about people.
Is it also I'm taking responsibility for my country as much as I'm taking responsibility for my home?
Yes.
Is that the thing?
I agree. Unfortunately, we are not realizing that by not doing the right thing, I am not even taking responsibility for myself and my home. As I said, I am getting contaminated water. If I have a young mother at home, the infant is actually getting microplastic in the milk. Think about it. So I am not helping myself, I am not helping my home. And if I think about my country, what better service we can do for ourselves and for the country.
So, I want to go one step detour here. When you talk about these countries, and the reason I'm asking you this is you come from that space, right? Clean Harbor has been in this space for decades.
Yeah.
You are running this in India, so the awareness around it is much bigger and wider. Is data a big part of this? Like, I believe if you don't measure something, you don't even know how bad or good it is. So you're saying we don't even have our numbers right. So is that also part of the story?
Yes, partly yes. We don't have data.
Okay.
We don't have data. That's why, as I said, no, you asked Chat GPT and about some of these waste stream. It says that while there is no official data available, this is a guesstimate. That's
Same-
what you
same thing.
you ask any of these AI. So there's not enough data.
But the other countries seem to have, like, I found Sweden's data, I found Japan's
Absolutely.
data. Yeah.
Because, again, to quote an example, if you're talking about developed countries, and as you said, we at Clean Harbors, we are primarily North America focused company. So we don't have any commercial business in India. We basically run a business process and technology center here, GCC as we call. I'll quote a simple example. Say you go to a restaurant, good restaurant, decent restaurant in Bangalore, and maybe there is a cooking oil, someone is transferring that and the oil spills. What happens here?
Someone comes and
Someone just comes, maybe
Mops.
some detergent and mops, and then where does it go? Goes to the drain. If the same spill happens in New York City, what happens to that?
what happens?
They have to call a company like Clean Harbors to get it, because they cannot dispose that off directly in municipal drain.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's very heavy on process.
So I'm not saying that we go to that level, but the point is, how many before joining this company, I didn't realize that paints, the unused paint that lies in our home after painting is done and all of that, it is hazardous waste.
Oh, it's there in my backyard.
Yeah. And you give it to someone, they'll use it, and then it becomes unusable, they'll throw it in the drain.
Correct.
It is hazardous waste. It is classified as hazardous waste. And then we can research, there's a reason why it is hazardous waste. So, I think, and then there is data, there is compliance, and again comes back to the culture. There also, if someone, clandestinely cleans up, chhod do, phek do, can happen. Maybe it happens in pockets, but that's not the culture. I think we have to look at ourselves. It's more of introspection for us that we have to do. I mean, I don't want to sound very negative. We are a great country. We have where you started, a phenomenal country, great natural resources, beautiful countryside, all of that. We are not doing justice to ourselves. We are always looking west or looking somewhere else, while there's something with us. It's on us. We can bring about so much change just by doing small little right things. You don't have to, not everyone has to become an activist and be, carry a flag on the street. Just do it right. If you see something, say something. If everyone starts doing it, I think that pressure will build up and people will start behaving right.
Nice. So I remember, especially in these A-level schools and all, they have these research projects they have to submit. So oftentimes in my layout, suddenly one 11th grader will raise a campaign, garbage collection. And they'll make videos, they'll get the whole layout to come together to pick all the garbage. And finally, they go into some US university to study. And this is part of their submission.
Yes.
But what you're saying is, instead of it being just a show, if you take full ownership and really start capturing some of this and just observe and see how the pile-up increases, that itself is a starting point for change as an individual.
Absolutely. I think that definitely is going to be of great significance, because small initiatives, so the thing that you talked about, that becomes one of your qualifiers for admissions in universities, and you do some social project and raise funding. Nothing wrong with it. Good. If it sustains, I think that's better. So it's about starting is good. Something, you're doing something instead of nothing. Yeah. But if you sustain that, and all the garbage you collect, what do you do with it? You collected the garbage, but again, if it is going to go in the drain, then it's not solving any problem, right? Same thing. But that is an area of opportunity for us.
Yeah. In preparation to this, no, there's the van comes every alternate day or something to our layout. So the guy who comes to collect the garbage, his name is Idris. So Idris has a lot of gut issues. So every now and then we exchange notes on what he does for his gut and all that. So the other day I was talking to him. Idhar se leke kidhar leke jata hai? Where do you go? And he says it centrally it goes and uske baad landfill mein jata hai. Is that the normal process everywhere? It goes to a landfill.
Yes, majority of it. That's why I was quoting this example. Near Delhi, there is a 17-story building tall landfill. Landfill means how much you are digging. You are not digging. You keep dumping.
Going and dumping.
And this is, it's not singling out a city, by the way. It's across the board. Couple of months ago, I was in Pondicherry for some work, and then being from this background, somebody showed me their waste management facility, and I saw exactly the same thing. So this place, which is, I think, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and Pondicherry border, again, you can't stay there for more than 5 minutes. It stinks so bad. It stinks. It's the fumes that come out, and the point we were discussing earlier, and there are people who are handling that. What are we doing for them? So it's just, 20, 30, 40 feet high mountains of waste is what's happening. Yes, that's what happens.
Okay. So if let's say, how old are you, man? He's 22. He's listening to this podcast. I'm sure there are many younger ones also. What can he start doing? Other than, what I buy. That's what he's saying. It starts with us.
Is everybody responsible?
It's our country. My country is as good as my home. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
It's our responsibility to dispose it rightly.
Correct.
But then after that, what happens?
Good question.
Good question.
So, I think, is it my I'll answer your point. Is it? No, but yeah, it is. No, I think that's the question. That's the question. No. But good you ask that question. Nothing against you, because that's why I said, no, what's in it for me? That's what question.
No, but this is all our thing. No, it's not my responsibility.
Exactly.
It's about how you told us. So like how people around you looks at you.
Yeah.
So for example, this is my 4th year in Bangalore, and I studied in Christ. Christ is in Eskipal. Eskipal is very dirty.
Right.
But our campus, if we throw waste on the ground, people will like give you that stare that you yourself
inside the campus.
You dispose it rightly. There are like 3 bins, separate. So I feel like.
But when you step outside, do you go just throw turka?
Now it has been a practice, so now I look for dustbin. Earlier I used to
Good.
throw it on the road.
Yeah.
But now I hold it till I reach home and I put it in the dustbin.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just imagine if we are able to inculcate this across all colleges. That itself would bring in significant change.
So wherever you are, whoever you are watching this, wherever you go, whether it is office, school, college, hospital, it doesn't matter. Inculcate this there. Start talking about it there. Start showing, hey, what is this? Calling out that.
And when you the other thing is, people look down upon you, right? So sometimes what happens is, and I have personally experienced it. I go somewhere and I have no place to discard the garbage. I hold it and then I look for a dustbin, and some people give me stares. What is this guy trying to do, right? I think we have to reverse the trend. And so there was a time when we were very, very orthodox, and even now today, if someone in my family is wearing some modern clothing, some people stare and we say, what the heck, man? Change your mindset. We say that, right? All of us, we say that.
Do you say that? What the heck? Change your mindset? You will also be checking.
The whole point is that
Yes.
we have to reverse the trend, and then it should be doing, disposing the waste right manner has to be the in thing. It should be a fashionable thing. I would go to the extent to do to dispose it right. The cool, yes, that's the word I was looking for. It should be cool. Today it is like, oh, what are you doing? People look, no, it is cool. It's like this. Is it cool to stay clean and use decent perfume and no body odor? It is cool, right? It is cool. Likewise, you make this as this cool. It has to start from. So if someone asks that question, say this is cool, man.
Yeah.
And if 10 people start, it will multiply. From colleges which are enforcing that, I really applaud them. That's the source where we should
Push for this.
push further. We can do it. It's no rocket science.
So when I was a kid, it was a lot worse. As in people throwing was a thing. But over the last 2 decades, the knowledge of planet getting hurt got into our brain so much that throwing making it's not about not being clean or anything. It's gonna hurt the planet.
Absolutely.
There's a lot more ingrained somehow. So I will eat a chocolate or something and I take the wrapper and put it in my bag home. And then I dispose it at home. But the thing is, from there what happens is the fundamental problem that we're facing.
Fair enough.
For a certain amount of the new generation are actually practicing
Great.
social disposal, right? But from there, of course.
Fair enough.
No, we'll start first with us. I think
Start
that
with
is
us.
the point he's trying to make. We need to start with us and
And talk about it and talk about how cool it is and go to an extent how uncool it is to not do it.
I've seen this, no? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's still in biodegradable.
But still,
It's a hit
it
or
has
miss.
its
Biodegradable.
no, but that is high. But still, it has its own, the dangers and risks and COVID and all time. We've seen all of that happening. So
Yeah.
certainly, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think first part is as a citizen, irrespective of what age you are, take ownership for what you're buying, how much you're consuming, what's your waste.
Yes.
Then be aware of around you, how is waste, is it going into the right bins, first of
Right.
all. Be responsible for it, take ownership for that. And if someone's not doing it, call it out. Call it out. And that will be in our vicinity and observe, right? What is then, can you start holding people? Let me ask you this. If I don't do my work in my company, like you're an MD of a company, your direct staff, they don't do something that is part of their responsibility and accountability, scope of work, KPIs. You call them once, you ask. Second time, you are very particularly giving feedback. There is no third time there. We ask them to leave. In ours, if you are a responsible, accountable person for a job as keeping the segregation done, etc., how do we first, I don't think I even know who's that responsible person. Which body is it? Where do we start? And how do I hold that person responsible?
And you have a very valid point. I think at times, it's our apathy towards what's going on. If we are indifferent. As you rightly, do we know who's picking up, what's happening? We are not asking those questions to anyone. It's like we don't even go to vote, right? It's all the same thing. We are blaming everything on, how system is bad and all of that. What are we doing? We are not asking questions to anybody. As an individual, you may raise a voice. Today, social media can be used both ways, but there is power in social media. If you keep, instead of some crazy videos going viral, you record that and you put it up there and say we need help. I can tell you there is going to be pressure that is going to get built. It will get fixed. Even now, you see, over a period of time, that will be addressed. Whoever are the authorities, and then earlier it would be like passing the buck, but once the pressure builds, then everyone takes ownership.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not my area. It is not my jurisdiction. All those things will happen. So that's one way of leveraging social media for a very positive cause.
That's very doable. Right? Yeah. Okay. So let me ask a further
Sure.
question, right? We've talked about now the municipal waste.
Yes.
What happens with our e-waste?
E-waste.
And then we'll go to the medical waste as well.
So,
See, industrial waste, you, me, I mean, a few of us are interested in it because are involved in it more than interested because we are from that space. But the other three, that is the municipal waste, the e-waste, as well as the medical
Medical.
waste, all of us hold
Absolutely.
it's applies to us as well.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm actually choosing it
Sure.
over the others.
Absolutely. So, see, from a technology standpoint, it's the pretty mature technology of how e-waste is processed and the byproducts that come out of it's pretty mature. The challenge is the collection itself. As I was saying, barely 10% of electronic waste actually gets collected and processed. 90% of it is lying somewhere. In our own homes, there must be 10 different those charger bricks lying. Some of them could be 10-year-old or even more, right?
Yeah, man, even I have.
We all have.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are not doing anything about it. So there are multiple in fact, one of the things which and we as in our company we started, we tied up with it's not again any publicity for any particular company, but we tied up with a company which deals with electronic waste, and they have kept a bin. All you have to do is you bring your whatever your electronic waste and drop it there. There is no commercial neither for them nor for us. We are happy. We said just a small service that we can do. I think there are more and more of that has to happen. I would say just like and that can be driven through regulations as well, that will support these startups who are trying to do something and make a positive business impact out of it, and in the process handle electronic waste also. Because depending on the kind of waste that you collect, it's again can be of immense value. These mobile phones that we have, so CTO of one large company, I was talking to him, and he said, you know what, the if you are looking at your smartphone and our periodic table that is there, right? Right. 90% of those elements are there in this periodic from the periodic table are there. So there are technologies to extract those rare metals and out of this. In fact, there was and I have not I'm not up to speed with that, but there was this experiment that was going on in the United States where they said all this collected they would melt and create a big super bowl type of bowl, and then there is technology to really process it and extract certain metals out of it. So all this is there, technology is there. I'm sure there is opportunity for refining that further. The challenge is the starting point itself. So where I was coming from is maybe we can, from a policy standpoint, so if you are building a commercial complex, right, an office complex, and in Bangalore you have so many of these IT parks and all, it has to be mandatory. Like you have to have garbage collection, and you have to have like very positive thing that the government brought in, that there has to be a creche for and things of that nature. There has to be a facility wherein you can drop
Go and dump your e-waste.
Dump e-waste. Easily doable. There are multiple startups and other companies who would be happy to take and process it.
Yeah.
Very doable. No rocket science.
But you're saying after that we don't know segregation, we don't know how to do that. Finally, it'll go to a landfill only.
No, okay, here's the difference. The good part about electronic waste, especially those people who are collecting it as a business, there's a business model in it.
Yeah.
So it's not just picking and dumping for few hundred rupees. They know it's worth much more. So they extract much more value out of it. So that invariably goes in by and large.
So what you're saying, Avinash, is if we take care of segregation,
Yes.
we then open avenues for new business opportunities to thrive.
Yes.
Whether it is in municipal waste, e-waste or medical waste, there are companies that
Absolutely.
are able to take that, process it, recycle it, and take us to that next level.
Absolutely.
First step is where we are really stalled at.
Absolutely. And once we create that awareness, as I was saying, that this actually is a garbage to gold journey. It's just that we have to embrace that and realize that this is for real. This is no hypothetical thing that Avinash and Sowjanya are talking about here for a podcast. This is for real. I would encourage people to go out, research, and there are so many tools available now. This is for real. We can all do it. So segregation, it starts with segregation, of course, and then also starts with holding ourselves accountable. And then forming groups like the gentleman was saying, like in colleges, and then it goes beyond that. And this should also become part of our how we raise our next generation.
Can it be an incentive structure as well in organizations? Like, hey, you've been very contributing in this space, and so the impact has been. So again, it requires some kind of metrics collection.
Correct. But it is possible. Again, see, we are not talking about big time incentive and then having metrics to the T, but broadly, if you incentivize, acknowledge people, appreciate them, I think that creates a positive vibe. That becomes the cool thing to do, and I think that can itself bring in significant change for sure. And another point I wanted to make is that are we imbibing this right from childhood? See, we all talk about how habits are formed at young age, and we being the role models, if I do something wrong, my son thinks that's the right thing to do. So are we being the right role models in this specific thing? And if our child, infant, kid, if they do something which is not right, are we giving them feedback, getting into that right habit, so it becomes part of them? See, our generation, unfortunately, hasn't gone through that. And I think we have our progress has been pretty rapid. But in that race, we lost some of these things, which I think it's time to correct that.
In a way, I do feel like our generation have failed the younger generation.
Yes.
Oh, look at him! Hello.
It's kind of serious because I've corrected my parents in certain situations.
Yes.
So I live in Kerala, okay? There's no waste like this on the road, but they're still okay with like throwing paper once you're traveling and you're eating something. They're okay with throwing paper outside.
Because they'll tell you immediately it's biodegradable.
Paper. So I was like, okay, just look at the road. There's no waste. If you see at least a dump, okay, you might feel like throwing. But how do you feel like throwing when the road is so clean? Why do you wanna? You won't do it someplace else, right?
So I feel I've seen this where the younger ones, then eventually they'll give up. They'll also be throwing because it's like, there's no point in it.
Generally, I used to do this. Like my mom was throwing something and I'd give it to me, I'll keep it in my pocket. And she used to say, "Apna ghar to saaf rakha jata nahi, road saaf karta rahe." Usually, like sometimes they were also like, "Ye to nahi sudrega, nahi fek." Now they're habit of carrying waste and dumping into the dustbin.
There used to be this guy called the Ugly Indian in Bangalore. So, I mean, for a long time he went with a mask. Okay, Avinash, no face. Right? Ultimately, he revealed his thing. His name is Arun. But he was this ugly Indian who used to mobilize these things where you take up the dirtiest road in Bangalore and a whole bunch of people come together. It's a very voluntary thing. And we clean up that space. Clean. Like, you take up all the garbage, you paint the whole place and all. And his study revealed that when it is clean, to what Isaac was talking, when it is clean, you are so conscious to make it dirty.
Correct.
But the first person who goes and drops it, one kachada, and after that there are many who will come and drop the kachada.
Yeah, absolutely. That's human psychology, right? That's human psychology. In fact, we in my previous company, as part of the Swachh Bharat, I think it's a great thing. All we have to execute it properly. So we also contributed nearby. So our office is close to a lake in Hyderabad. So many corporates, we asked for volunteers and we cleaned the space. And to your point, that's exactly happened. It remained clean for several weeks, and then somebody started doing it, and then it multiplies. So I think whenever you see the next step would be whenever you see something, someone has to really fix that there. Even there's no other
only
option.
way.
That's the only way.
Okay, I'm going to go a little controversial now. Now, this much is gyan for us
Yes.
as individual citizens,
Sure.
right? Why is the administration not able to make waves over here? Is there a lot of corruption?
Yes. Unfortunately, there's corruption across the board. Yeah, because corruption is, unfortunately, it's across the board.
Let's take the municipal garbage itself first, because I feel the others are
Yeah.
still regulatory.
Sure.
There's still a little bit of, policies, whether it is the body that is holding the regulation or the company and, the guidelines of the company. There's still some balance we can pull off in the other one, is my belief, but we'll get to that. But in this one, it's just free for all, like
Yeah.
municipal garbage. So there, where all is corruption? What kind of corruptions happen? Like, where all are we going? We don't know itself. See, corruption, half the time for us, we are oblivious until we end up paying money to bribe somewhere. So in this space, we don't know where all we have the
Absolutely.
corruption points.
No, it's a chain. Unfortunately, it's a chain right at the starting point. Okay, so who's picking up your garbage? So the person who's picking up the garbage, he or she is either a direct employee of the municipal corporation or from a contract,
Agency.
from an agency, right? Now, if it's a direct employee of the local self-government, how system works in getting that job, The other day, I'm sure you would have read, there was there was some, what they call in chaparasi, they call it, that's office boy in government office. There were few openings for that in one of the states, and there were people with master's degrees lined up for that interview, right? Because it is, and I know it will not come as a surprise to anyone, at least in India, unfortunately but true. So which means that we know the corruption starts from there. If it's an agency, who gets the contract? If you and I tomorrow go and say, we will bring all the values and we'll do it ethically, how challenging it is to. So now it starts from there. If I were to start a business, and if I cannot run my business ethically, means I have to do something. So in the process, I'll also say, if I have to anyway get corrupt, I will also take my share. If I have to give 10% somewhere, I'll also take another 10% myself. That others are happy, I am happy, we are in business, and then it multiplies from there on. So it's a chain, and wherever the chain breaks, you would have seen some really, and there are multiple examples of honest officers and who try to break the chain. They are the ones who are at the receiving end. They are the ones, there are multiple examples, they get transferred every 6 months and all of that happens. But it's the chain. But somewhere the chain has to break. The chain will not break on its own, for sure. It will only strengthen. It will break only when there is public pressure, there is visibility, and see, if I'm a politician and I'm not in that space, but I don't want to be seen as something negative, right? So if the pressure builds, then things will happen. So again, it's people who have to put that pressure. It's a chain.
Are you then saying, as citizens, we have reached a point, especially in this space, it's either tyranny or revolution, and it's time to go the revolution way and bring the change by demanding it?
Absolutely. Demanding. Again, I'll repeat, we're doing our bit right first, and demanding, and that doesn't have to be like you take more charge everywhere, but demanding. If you, starting with our, your layout, whoever is the corporator who's the responsible, public going and putting pressure on him, why this is not happening, this is unclean, putting pictures and all of that. That's the way of demanding. You don't have to, pick a fight with someone. Do in a nice manner, but the person will see, today there is like Sowjanya coming with 5 people, tomorrow there are like 20, 100. Things will change.
We also have work, no, in between to do.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's not that you do it full time. If we decide that we have to do it, even if we say I'm going to spend a couple of hours a month, I think we can all take out that much time. If we decide, it's like, if we decide that we we all have so much work that we don't have time to go on a vacation, but then you have to make time. So make time. We are doing it for ourselves. The moment you tell that I'm not doing it for anyone, I'm doing it for myself, my next generation. I think that.
See, this is exactly the attitude you're talking about. Oh, we also have work.
Yeah.
Is the part that you're talking about that, hey, this is your world.
Yes.
This is your accountability and responsibility as a citizen, as a human being in this world.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I don't want to cut short my life by 10%.
Yeah.
I think that is. It may sound dramatic, but that's fact.
Yeah. Actually, that is something I want to bring up also, right? So the status, right? The numbers. I was just looking at how bad is the cost, huh? Let's see if you are with me. This is all data investigative journalism, as I called it. 18 MT CO2 E per year from landfill methane. That is our thing. 30,000 crore per year in disease and injury cost. That's the cost of inaction that without any data we are able to articulate. Now, personal and other community toll, it says 48% of workers are injured annually who are working in this. 28% have breathing issues. 22% have skin diseases. Families pay 10 to 400 rupees for collection and waste 1 to 2 hours per week chasing this collection itself.
Yes.
Is this the right number, the cost?
Directionally, they are absolutely right. They are right. They could be even worse, actually. So that's fact. We are paying price. So that brings to the point that it is for our own selfish cause that we have to address this issue.
Yeah.
It is. Those are pretty.
So the third thing was very alarming for me. Municipalities drained 60% of their budgets on just sweeping and dumping, but not talking about the other things like garbage collection, segregation, recycling.
Yes. So there is the issue about do we have the right infrastructure? Now let's come to this specific. Do we have the right infrastructure for processing the garbage that gets collected? The answer is no.
We don't have. What do others have?
And I'll come to that. So most of it actually goes into landfill, right? As we said, okay. Now, how many cities have infrastructure to really process the waste and make something useful, positive out of it, than just sending it to land? I think that's minimal. The investment, while we talk about corruption and all those challenges, but there are significant infrastructure issues as well. Even if this 30% collection goes to 50%, what do you do after collecting? So we don't have that infrastructure in most cities. Again, that is where the whole issue about keeping everything in government control is a challenge. Why not let private players come into this? Will they make money out of it? Yeah, absolutely. But what's wrong if it is for the right cause? Break down that bureaucracy there. Let them collect the waste. In fact, you get the waste for free. That's how you have to position it. You are not providing a service. You are getting an input to which is going to be an input to your business, right? You are getting it for free. The only condition what you pay in terms of keeping the city clean, and then that can further be processed. Multiple byproducts there are areas wherein you use that as a fuel, right? And then again, multiple examples of that is there. So the infrastructure is not there, and to really get to that infrastructure, I don't know how much government sponsored infrastructure growth is going to happen, but bringing in private players who will be held accountable to delivering that will bring in change.
So is it the budgets that are allocated that is also less in that case?
Is it a priority? It's a question of priority, right? And again, priorities are governed by multiple factors.
Can I ask you one question? So then as citizens, it's also, I find this really odd that one says, I'm not so informed or interested in politics. I think it's a mistake if one is talking about not interested in politics. You cannot be oblivious to the politics of the land because it's affecting you directly or indirectly. So you should be very aware.
Yeah, I mean, being politics doesn't mean that everyone has to contest elections or canvass for one candidate or the other. But if it is affecting you, you better be aware of what's going on. When you call it politics, you call it the public infrastructure or the government authorities and all of that. It's how you are being governed and what services you are getting. So you are right. You can't be oblivious to it because it's affecting you. So it's and be smart. Promote, choose person who is going to help you. Sometimes we make that mistakes. We have sometimes strange criteria for choosing our political alliances. End of the day, what is that particular political candidate, party, whoever is doing for the betterment of me and my society? That has to be the yardstick. If we do that, there will be competition amongst all parties to do good, which is what we all would want to see.
Why are you so keen on this? Because it's not just your job part that you're part of Clean Harbors and so you're keen on this. There seems to be more reasons than that for why you are interested. Why?
Yes, and I joined Clean Harbors 6.5 years ago, and Clean Harbors is primarily into industrial, very little municipal. But I get alarmed by when I see this thing about microplastics and what's happening to our new generation, and I feel guilty, to be honestly. There is some amount of guilt that me personally and my generation has not done enough, or we have not done things right. So it is more than anything, it is an opportunity for us to do it right, because we are all passionate about prosperity in this country, which we all should be. I'm a proud Indian. I look forward to that. But there are these such serious areas which have serious implications, which we didn't pay attention to. So I feel that we can bring about these changes. I also feel strongly about it because I don't have to run a political party. I don't have to have a big organization. I can start with as simple as one person army. This gentleman you're talking about, Arun, right? Somebody like him, right? We can all. So it is doable. We can all start. So I'm very passionate about it, and especially to our earlier conversation, when we go to some of these countries, we see nice, squeaky, clean, and why can't be my country like that, right? And some of the countries that we named, probably from a pure economic stature standpoint, we are better off. Today our forex reserves and our GDP and all is all going north, which is great. So that so let's not talk about money. That's not the criteria.
So you're saying once we start driving it, we start pushing it, the loudest crybaby gets the feed. Absolutely. So that feed starts coming here also. This starts becoming a priority. Today we are like slacking it, and so it is not a priority anywhere else as well.
Absolutely.
Wow. Any passing thoughts, both for our generation as well as the youngsters?
Again, it starts with acknowledging that there's a problem which needs attention. It's important, which for us, our generation, and accepting we have done a lot of good things. So our generation has come a long way, but also there are these shortfalls in our generation. So accepting that, and then saying, okay, what can I do about it? There's a lot we can do about it. And a lot of people who retire, I think that can be a great engagement for them, that they can get engaged in and bring in a positive difference. So I think that would be my I would say my thought process, my recommendation, if I can make to this generation. To the next generation, I would say, just like we demand all the right things in life, this is another very important element of our existence, our prosperity. Demand but at the same time, don't demand without you contributing your bit. So you do your bit and demand. I think once we start contributing at individual levels and demand, hold the system, hold people accountable, it is doable. Again, if few cities have done it in India, everybody can do it. That's how I would put it.
And I also thought the last part that you talked about, if you're in your 40s, one of the things I found is a lot of this long-term, who am I, what is my purpose, starts coming out. If you think you want to be part of a change, there is something that you can pull off over here as well.
Absolutely. That is, we can bring in the changes because you are in 40s. I'm in 50s now. Doesn't mean I cannot bring about change. And you are right. We tend to realize what I have done so far, and then what's my purpose. I mean, this is
the legacy.
This is something which actually can add to the meaning of your life. This is how I see it.
You already mentioned, but like for a youngster or somebody who would like to start a business or something in this space, if you could throw some shades on like how big the money can be.
The interesting part is that you don't have to jump onto the latest and greatest and high tech at mega scale. It can start on a small scale. It can start with within a layout, maybe one community also it can start. So we are talking about couple of lakh rupees. I think that much in this country today we can definitely raise that kind of funding. And once you prove the concept, it can multiply from there on. So you take one step at a time, and once you reach a stage that it stabilizes, then you can go for exponential growth. So not that you need crores and crores of rupees to get this thing started, and I need some funding, and then all the challenges that come with it. In fact, once you prove your model, it's like in our technology world, we say once you have your minimum viable product, which is showing you some outcomes, you'll attract investors.
See, I was talking the other day about minimum viable product. This is what
The term is right.
Yeah, you start small, prove it, then it. I have one more question as a follow through. See, when you look at bio waste, like all our food, like I have a compost pit in the house, so it gives me enough manure. I'm able to recycle it. So let's say in my community we're able to do something like this, which is garbage segregation, a big pit of sorts, etc., etc. From there, there's one part which is a compost pit, which will take all the bio waste and it'll compost it, and we can distribute it within the community. The other waste, what do we do with that?
That's a good question. So that's where segregation comes into play. So if you have to run that, and a lot of communities are actually running that, which is good. In fact, now they are making it mandatory for larger communities to have that kind of waste management when creating manure from bio waste. What do we do with the dry waste, right? So again, within dry waste, a good amount of that dry waste, which is not bio waste, right? The plastic and the cartons and all of that, a good amount of that is actually recyclable. So I have a home in Pune, and my wife is very active in that society and all of that. So what she took an initiative. What to do with the dry waste? Very simple fund solution. She looked at these people, they come with those carts to collect kabadi wala, as they call, who used to sell paper and plastic, and they'll give you some money against that. So in our community, that person comes couple of times a week. Each part he goes one day in a week or something like that. And what we have asked people is to, whatever is not bio waste, like your cartons and plastic and bottle and all of that, keep there. This person's job is to pick it up. He gets it for free. If he goes on the street, he has to pay but it's minimal they pay. We say you get it for free, but you have to pick everything. You can't say I'll not pick this, I'll not pick every dry waste. You have to pick, which forms 80% of it. That person kind of makes a little bit of money, earns a livelihood out of that. And we get free service, free disposal service, because that person has commercial. See, whenever there's a commercial interest, no, things will happen. If you purely say do social work, it's going to be challenging. That person has a vested interest. Free mein mil raha hai. All I have to do is I have to follow a process. I have to make sure it is clean and all of that. Otherwise, I will not get this business. So he picks up, and a good amount of that goes into recycling. In India, that way, once those people, kabadi wala take it, they would recycle it because they look at it as an asset. They look at it as something of business value. We are not looking at it as they look at. So once you give it to them, a good part of it gets recycled. Not the most efficient way, but it's significantly better than where we are today.
That's a good starting point.
Good starting point. And I'm sure this model can further evolve.
Makes sense.
Simple solution.
I think it has. There are apps
Yes.
like Scrapos, they even pay you to come and
Yes.
Oh, really?
For
Yes.
each metal paper, they have price which updates on a day-to-day basis, and you can book them. They'll come and take it.
And
They pay you.
yeah, they pay you. I mean, they pay you. The challenge with that has been that now each person has to be responsible enough to really go to that panel. We have all become so lazy. We don't want to do it, and that's why this solution. You keep a bin, you just drop. Sorry, you drop it there, right? That's it. That much people will do, and then someone will come and pick up. For one home, that person is not going to come. But if it's like there are 50 homes and I can pick up, it's commercial sense.
So
But in Jaipur, kabadi wala come to every house by house, door to door.
Yeah, it's
Ring the bell and he asks, do you have
in
anything?
Bangalore and it's been a year. Kabadi wala is not-
I think
Hey,
these,
but are you saying in Jaipur, after the kabadi wala comes, that is outside what is there is in spite of the...
Almost a decade back or something, it was
Yeah.
Now it has reduced because there are bodies who will collect garbage from your home, but they might be picking it from the dump or these areas. Like there are local dump area in the city itself, and they pick it from those spots rather than picking it from your house.
so I have a controversial answer to that. I think we have become too sophisticated. Because of which, वो कबाड़ी वाला आएगा, वो क्या 10 रुपया देगा, हम क्या 10. So that's where the commercial, and then people look down upon. I have seen this happening. Believe me, that earlier, even when I was much younger. This guy is selling stuff to get 10 rupees, right?
Yeah.
Now we have taken the 10 rupee element out of it. It goes for free,
Yeah.
right? For the kabadi wala, and you rightly said, they even to this day they go to these dump yards and pick, plastic waste and all, and you see the rack pickers as we call them. They do it. But if we give them, and then the other thing is, we don't know how much of that get picked, and all of that happens. This model that I'm talking about, first of all, you have it regulated, because that person, you will take that person's ID and all of that. You will not allow anybody and everybody to enter, one or two individuals. So you know when that person is coming, going out, you can hold. So safety wise, you are not compromising on that. There's no money involved. That person is not going to give me 2 rupees or 5 rupees for my beer bottle, but they'll pick everything, which actually helps us. So, I mean, this is just one example, one use case. I'm sure if we really think with minimal effort, we can bring in change. We all can.
As a country, we have a lot of class issues also, right?
Yes.
And because of that, waste disposal is so
Yeah,
complex.
it's done by a certain community.
Yes.
Community plus a certain class group in a certain locality will throw waste because they don't care. And the disposal of a higher community is different. They probably do it in a dustbin, but they don't care what happens after that. So there's so much complexity
Absolutely.
that is there in our country with the population that is there and caste system and all that.
Yeah,
I think-
correct.
So
What you are saying is totally right. So there are two elements to it. One is the caste system has driven who collects the waste and all of that. In fact, there was a time that human waste used to be collected and on head, and that is now banned by law. It used to be the case when I was a kid, right? So thankfully, that's not there. So the point you are making is right. What I'm saying is that we can find 10 reasons of why it cannot work. But we, so-called educated, aware people, why don't we start with ourselves? let's make that 30%, 40%. That itself probably will move the needle in the right direction. Because today, what we are saying is, oh, even if I do it, they will continue to do it. At least, and now, if you go and preach them, the first thing they will say, you first look at yourself. First of all, they are not going. So why are we going to we versus they? Why not we start
With
with me? That itself will bring in. If we look at only, I don't know how they classify these residential tier 1 or what grade A, whatever right. So if you talk about any decent community, with whichever way you want to classify, start from there. Start from the top end, luxury villas to decent apartments, and start from there. Mostly well-educated people, all aware, everything. Start from there.
Yeah.
There is no commercial challenge for them. At least start from there. I think, by the way, the most food waste and all of that, we generate more waste than they tend to reuse.
Yeah.
So we are probably contributing more to the waste generation.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect solution, but it will move the needle in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Is there anything I missed that you want to
No,
talk
I think we are good.
Yeah?
Thank you.